Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jeff, and I'm back with another video. So, I'll be doing my 2015 Stanley Cup Finals prediction. It's that time of the year. It's time to crown our 2015 Stanley Cup champ. And the stage is set. It starts Wednesday, 8 p.m., Game 1 in Tampa Bay. The matchup, we got the two-seeded, Tampa Bay Lightning hosting to number 3 seeded Chicago Blackhawks. This is going to be a hell of a series. So before I make my predictions, I want to tell you how these teams got to the finals. So in the Eastern Conference, like I said, we have the 2015 Eastern Conference champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They beat the Detroit Red Wings in the first round in 7 games. In the second round, they beat the Montreal Canadiens, the 1-seeded Montreal Canadiens, in 6 games. And in the Eastern Conference Finals, they beat the 1-seeded President's Trophy winners, New York Rangers, in 7 games. The Tampa Bay Lightning are your 2015 Eastern Conference champions. They're representing the Eastern Conference. They're in the Stanley Cup. That's how they got to the Stanley Cup Finals. Going to the Western Conference, we have 2015 Western Conference champions, the Chicago Blackhawks. In the first round, they beat the 2-seeded Nashville Predators in 6 games. And in the second round, they beat the Minnesota Wild in a 4-game sweep, 4-0. And in the Western Conference Finals, they beat the 1-seeded Anaheim Ducks in 7 games. That's how Chicago goes to the finals. They're representing the Western Conference team. They're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, that's the matchup. So, getting to this video, in the Eastern Conference, Tampa Bay beat the 1-seeded President's Trophy. I already said that. I told you to pick Tampa Bay in 6 games. I was 1 game short, but I had the correct team. I really thought it was going to go 6, but the Rangers pulled off in Game 6. So, although I had the correct team, but I had the wrong number of games, so... And in the Western Conference Finals, I told you to take Chicago in 7. Perfect pick. I had Chicago winning it in 7 games. My pick was straight on right. Chicago wins it, going to the Stanley Cup Finals. So looking at both of these teams, they only met twice in the regular season. The series is tied 1-1. Both teams get the win against each other. So... And I just want to say, it's going to be a really, really good goalie matchup. You're going to have Corey Crawford versus Ben Bishop. Two probably elite goaltending in the NHL right now. Chicago's a decent home record, but not the best. They were only 24-12 and 5. On the road, they were only 24-16 and 1. And if you look at Tampa Bay, their home record was just absolute monstrous. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. They went 32-8 and 1 at home. In away, they were only 18-16 and 1. That's pretty bad. They won some away games in the playoffs, so the away record doesn't really, matter to me, but each team has a player to watch. Chicago Blackhawks, in my opinion, you have to watch that captain, Jonathan Toews. He scored the first 2 games. He scored the first 2 goals of Game 7 against Anaheim. Jonathan Toews is a player to watch on Chicago. Check him out. He's going to be absolute amazing in this series. And Tampa Bay, obviously one player to watch on Tampa Bay is Steven Stamkos. Absolute monstrous throughout the whole playoffs. So I'm about to give you some stats, like, who I give the edge for, the goalie matchup, power plays, defense, offense, takeaways, and penalty kills. Let's start with the goalie matchup. You got Corey Crawford of the Chicago Blackhawks, and you have Ben Bishop of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who do I have give the edge to? Tampa Bay hasn't really made it to the finals for a really long time, but if you look at Chicago, they made the finals for the last several years. They made it in 2010. They won in 2010. They made it in 2013. They won in 2013. They had Stanley Cup Finals experience. Excuse me, the goalie has experience, and it's just absolute monstrous what the goaltending can do. So Corey Crawford compared to Ben Bishop, Ben Bishop hasn't been in the Stanley Cup Finals. He hasn't been in the Stanley Cup Finals before, so he doesn't really know what to expect. Um, so I have to give the Chicago Blackhawks the edge for goalie matchup. I think the goaltending is going to be really good for Chicago. I give it to Chicago. I think Chicago's goaltending is going to be much better than Tampa. I have to give the goaltending to Chicago. Power plays. Both teams' power plays are really, really good. If you look at Tampa, their power play was really good. I know most of their goals they scored throughout the playoffs is mostly power play goals. So, but if you look at Chicago, most of the goals they score was breakaway goals. So, who do I give the edge? Definitely, Tampa Bay Lightning. I think their power play is way better than Chicago. Like I said, Tampa Bay Lightning's power play, mostly the goals they score is the power play. So, I have to give the power play edge to Tampa. I think Tampa Bay has the better edge in power plays than Chicago. Um, Defense. Which team has the better defense on the ice? In my opinion, they both really have good players. We're talking about takeaways. We're talking about stealing pucks and stopping shots, stuff like that. So Chicago obviously have the edge here, in my opinion. They have Morgan Holtza, Johnson Toews, Patrick Kane. Those players are just ridiculous. They're really good at defense. They can get takeaways. Tampa, not really a good takeaway person. They didn't really have any takeaways in the series, I believe. But this is just my opinion. So, who would I give the edge to defense? Definitely, sorry about that. Definitely Chicago. I have to give the defense on the ice. So, I'm giving Chicago the edge in defense. So, offense, you know, you're talking about Tampa and Chicago. Chicago is really good on offense. Tampa's really good on offense. Tampa's offense has been on the field, on the ice. Sorry, field. What the fuck? On the ice, it's been really good. So, so I think this is going to be a really close offense on the ice. I think I have to give it to both teams. I think both teams have a really good offense on the ice. I have to give the edge to both teams. Who do I think have the better offense if I had to choose one? Probably Tampa Bay, but for the offense, I have to give it to both teams. Takeaway, we talked about this. Chicago has the better takeaway. Chicago's that team that can, get pucks, get takeaways. Mostly you realize that most of the goals they score is takeaways. Chicago, I noticed that a lot in the series and throughout the playoffs. So who do I give the edge to the takeaways? Chicago, of course. Tampa Bay can get takeaways. They just have to they have to be really good on defense. But I give the edge to defense to Chicago. But takeaways, I'm definitely giving Chicago here. So penalty kills. So we're talking about how Tampa, I think, has a better power play, and they can kill the penalty other teams' power play really good, and excuse me. And I have to give it to Tampa. I think their penalty kill is much better than Chicago. Chicago's just they struggle a little bit. They gave up some goals on power plays to the opposite team. So penalty kills, I definitely have to go with Tampa Bay. I give the penalty kills to Tampa Bay. So this is a really good matchup. Excuse me. But I'm gonna do this really quick. This is gonna be a really good game. You got Chicago Blackhawks and Tampa. It's gonna be really good. I don't think this is gonna go really far. I think either team's gonna be really good. We talk about power plays. What Ben Bishop needs to win at least, I don't know, two of the something home games to win. and Chicago needs home games. You know, Tampa has a really, really good home record. I talk about it, 32 and 8 and 1. Chicago not really a good home team, but I had struggled with this pick for a while. So I'm making my decision. So this was my decision. I actually had trouble with this, but I made my decision. This is my decision. Drum roll, please. I am officially picking for your 2015 NHL champions. I am officially predicting that your winner of 2015 Stanley Cup is the Chicago Blackhawks to beat the number 2 seeded Tampa Bay Lightning in a well-fought 6-game series. That's right, I'm picking the Chicago Blackhawks to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. I think they split the first 2 games and Tampa Bay. I think the Blackhawks win both home games, games 3 and 4. We talk about how Tampa is really good at home. I think game 5 in Tampa. I think Tampa stays alive. In game 6 in Chicago, I think Chicago takes it. That's my prediction. I'm officially picking the Chicago Blackhawks to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. I predict the 2015 Stanley Cup champions will be the Chicago Blackhawks. That's it, folks. I'll be back for the congratulations video of either team winning. So that's it.